What's up everyone, Soldier First Class here, and today's mission, we are going to be doing a live breakdown and analysis of the new website for Final Fantasy XVI. We are going to be talking about not only the PlayStation, or the Final Fantasy XVI website, we also have a accompaniment a little bit in the PlayStation blog article that came directly from Yoshi P. Now, Yoshi P is just the producer, and is going to be overseeing this project heavily, and so I'm excited. Let's get right into it. So first off, I do want to confirm that they are confirming that these characters, the Shield of Joshua, which is now known as Clive or Cleve, however the Japanese pronunciation is going to be, and Yoshi P says there was a lot of speculation, but yes, the young knight and the tattooed man in the Awakening trailer are one and the same. I speculated this, the characters looked a lot alike, and I had a lot of people telling me that I was wrong, that these were two different characters, there's no time skip, it's all the same, it's different characters taking place in different areas. But no, Yoshi P has now confirmed that Clive or Cleve, or however you say it, is the same character as the tattooed man we see in the beginning of the 16 trailer. He is actually the firstborn son of the Archduke of Rosaria, which we'll get into in a little bit, and he's the shield who protects his younger brother Joshua, the dominant of the Phoenix. Joshua bestowed the blessing of the Phoenix upon him, giving Clive the ability to wield a part of the Icon's fire. However, as the story unfolds, he is swept up into great tragedy. It turns out that he's just a normal guy that's really good with a sword. Which is fine, I'm actually okay with that. Not every Final Fantasy character has to be this over-the-top, super badass with every ability known to man that's a god killer. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be that way, and I'm fine with that. It makes him more human, which is actually what I want out of this character, is for him to be a little bit more human. Now, I do want to point out that there is quite a bit of humor in the writing, and I expected that with Mayhiro writing it. I love that. So it has a very tactics feel to it. So let's go ahead, and now that we've confirmed some things about the main character, so this art is the best thing I've ever seen. Like, and this is handmade. This is not a render. This is actually a hand-drawn image, which is insane. It does not look that way. But if you kind of zoom in a little bit in the legs and the cape area, you can kind of tell that it's painted. And the guy that did this is Kazuya Takahashi. He did the art for Final Fantasy XIV, and it's super good looking. Like, I love this art, and I hope that this is the box art for Final Fantasy XVI. Like, I would freak out if this is actually the box art. So they have the Awakening trailer, which we've already seen from the PS5 event. Let's go into... I actually want to wait on the world stuff. I want to go to the characters. So, as we know now, the name of the main character, the only main character that we know of that's playable, is Clive Rosefield. I'm probably butchering that really, really bad. But I'm assuming that it's Clive. It could be Cleve, because we have the whole Titus situation, and other characters in Final Fantasy that have kind of had weird weird pronunciations, but I believe it's Clive. As I said from the PlayStation blog, it says the firstborn son of the Archduke of Rosaria. Though all expect him to inherit the Phoenix's flames and awaken as its dominant, Destiny instead chose his younger brother Joshua to bear his burden. And I actually really like that. I think that's a cool concept. In search of a role of his own, Clive dedicated himself to mastering the blade. His practice pays off when at just 15 years of age, he wins the ducal tournament and is dubbed the first shield of Rosaria, tasked to guard the Phoenix and blessed with the ability to wield a part of his fire. Which, that actually is pretty cool too. So I like that instead of him being that badass character, again, like we talked about earlier, he actually protects what's supposed to be the badass character, and it just happens to be his little brother. Like, I think that's a cool concept that they're going with, and I want to see where it goes. So, alas, Clive's promising career is to end in tragedy at the hands of a mysterious dark icon, Ifrit, setting him on a dangerous road to revenge. So, as we saw in the trailer, Ifrit was tearing something apart. Now, I'm pretty sure that it's Joshua as the Phoenix, because there was a lot of blood in that scene. So it has to be that he's ripping apart something large. And what's just as large as Ifrit that would be putting out that much blood? Phoenix. So, and then in the Japanese trailer, we have the main character screaming, "Stop, that's my little brother," when Ifrit is on the screen destroying whatever it is. So it makes me believe that Joshua, now that we've confirmed that he is Phoenix, that Joshua is being killed by Ifrit. Now, obviously, I can't confirm that. I don't know, but it is very possible. And then we have Joshua's, which is his little brother, the second son of the Archduke of Rosaria and Clive's younger brother by 5 years. Joshua awoke as the dominant of the Phoenix soon after his birth. Despite his noble upbringing, Joshua treats all his father's subjects with warm affection, none more so than Clive, whom he deeply admires. So, again, we're getting like this brotherly bond that's really cool, so I'm liking where that part of the story goes, and it makes it so that, like, that bond makes it even tougher when things happen to the other. Joshua often laments that it was he, the frail and bookish younger son, who was granted command of the Firebird's flames, and not his stronger, braver brother. While Clive will gladly throw himself into any danger, Joshua quails at the sight of a carrot on his dinner plate, but carrots become the least of his concern when he too is swept up into the tragic events that changed Clive's life forever. I love that he is afraid, like, he hates carrots, like, that's his thing. And I feel that writing is so Final Fantasy XIV and, like, so Kazutoyo Meihiro that it's just, I cannot wait for stuff like this to be in there. Like, it's pretty funny. So then we're moving on to the third character, which is super important, and her name is Jill Warwick, and she actually turns out to be their sister by adoption, kinda. Born in the fallen Northern Territories, Jill was taken from her homeland at a tender age to become a ward of Rosaria, securing peace between the two warring nations. Now, I kind of went into this when we talked about the theory that Shiva and Jill could be the same character. Jill kind of has features, and her color scheme for her outfit is very similar to Shiva. So I kind of felt like maybe she could be Shiva's dominant. And since the summon is the dominant turned into that summon, kind of like Attack on Titan, I think, where the character turns into the Titan. So that's kind of like what we're seeing here. But the Archduke insisted that she be raised alongside his sons, and now at 12 years of age, she is as much a part of the Rosefield family as Clive and Joshua. Ever kind, gracious, and unassuming, Jill has become a trusted confidant to the brothers. I liked it. I like that they're setting up these characters to be intertwined together in a way that makes it more emotionally impactful. So I feel like good stories and good stories that tell a tragic story make you connected to characters not only on a surface level, but in some kind of way that makes you realize that the characters care for each other, and that's why things like Aerith's death make it so impactful. Now we're going to move on to the world, and no, that's not a JoJo reference, even though it should be. So we have the world, and its name is Valisthea, so it doesn't take place in Ivalice like some people had theorized or assumed, and it's a land blessed in the light of the Mother Crystals. And the way they actually do the Mother Crystals is super interesting. So the land of Valisthea is studded with Mother Crystals, glittering mountains of crystal that tower over the realms around them, blessing them with ether. So there's going to be concept art that we're going to look at here in a second, and that art is... it shows these giant crystal mountains. And I think that's what they're talking. It's like almost like a mountain entirely made out of crystals. So it's not like these crystals are being held in a city anymore, or that they're collectible, or whatever the case is. And you can kind of see in the background here, like a mountain range or something behind this castle. So I think that's probably this kingdom's Mother Crystal, and I'm sure this in the left-hand corner is probably the main character. I don't know where the dragon comes into play. That's going to be interesting, but this is early concept art, so who knows. For generations, people have flocked to these beacons to take advantage of their blessing, using the ether to conjure magics that let them live lives of comfort and plenty. Great powers have grown up around each Mother Crystal, and an uneasy peace has long reigned between them, yet now the peace falters as the spread of the blight threatens to destroy their dominions. I haven't seen a lot of people talking about this, but the crystals are kind of like rivers and oceans back in ancient civilizations. So back in the day, civilizations used to crop up around rivers and oceans because of the water source that they had, their filtration systems, what they could do to grow crops and grow as a society. And it seems like the crystals are kind of like a river in a sense that the ether flowing from them provides for the people that live there, and they kind of protect them from things and give them abilities that they wouldn't normally have. So I kind of like that it harkens back to old civilizations in that way, which, I mean, it fits the setting for sure. So now let's go on to the icons and their dominance. The icons are the most powerful and deadly creatures in Valisthea. Each resides within a dominant, a single man or woman who is blessed with the ability to call upon their dread power. In some nations, these dominants are treated as royalty in admiration of this strength. In others, they are bound in fear of it and forced to serve as weapons of war. Those who are born as dominants cannot escape their fate, however cruel it may be. And it seems like that the icons are one per person. So it doesn't seem like, a lot of people were theorizing that Ifrit could be Joshua's summon also on top of Phoenix, but it appears that icons are one per person. So it doesn't appear that like just anybody can be a summoner. Not everybody can have an icon. It seems very special. Kind of a once in a lifetime or once in a generation thing. So now we're going to go to the realms of Valisthea. I'm going to probably mispronounce this horribly, but the Grand Duchy of Rosaria. Long ago, a group of small independent provinces in western Valisthea found strength and unity and formed the Grand Duchy of Rosaria. After years of relative prosperity, the duchy now finds itself threatened by the spread of the blight, which I believe is that disease that we talked about before. A threat that left unchecked would doubtless usher the realms of ruin. Rosaria draws its ether from Drake's Breath, a mother crystal situated on a volcanic island off the coast. The dominant of the Phoenix, icon of fire, is enthroned as Archduke when they come of age. Rosaria appears to not have its own mother crystal, and we'll go into that a little bit. I've read this website before, just as kind of like a brief thing so I could kind of know what I'm talking about. But it sounds like they're borrowing their ether from a mother crystal that's not their own. That's interesting, because that feels like that's going to be a point of conflict in this game, is that they're using something that's not their own, and the people that own it are eventually going to be like, okay, no, we're tired of you guys, like, this is our thing, like, leave us alone, or whatever. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but it seems like something that might happen. The Holy Empire of Sandbrick. Now, this was what so when the Dragoon shows up in the trailer, in the Japanese trailer, I believe that they say that they're part of the Zanbrex, which is what we're looking at here, the Holy Empire. Sandbrek is the largest theocratic force in Valisthea. The Empire's holy capital, Oriflamme, is built around Drake's Head, the mother crystal that blesses the surrounding provinces with abundant ether. Also, you're going to notice a pattern with the name of the mother crystals. They all literally are Drake's something. And it's kind of cool how they form together, and I'll go into that in a little bit, but it's a really cool concept. The people happily take advantage of this, living in comfort and security under the watchful gaze of the Holy Emperor, whom they worship as the living incarnation of the one true deity, kind of like an Egyptian pharaoh. The dominant of blank serves as the Empire's champion, taking to the field in times of war to rout its enemies. Now, they do mention Titan later here for the Dalmakian Republic. So we've seen Phoenix. We've seen Titan, Shiva, and there was one that I'm not entirely sure of, and I'm pretty sure that it's Garuda, but I don't know who it belongs to, because this one, the Holy Empire of Sandbrek, is blanked out, and it makes me think that if you look at their flag, so you could argue that this is probably their religious leader, and they have dragons on their flag. Or this could be Shiva, and Shiva has a history with Bahamut, so it's possible that we're either looking at Shiva's dominant, or like Shiva's location, or this is Bahamut, which would make sense if they're an empire, they're powerful. Bahamut's usually the king of something, or like a god of something, or he's the god of the summons, or he's just a really powerful form. So it's possible that it is Bahamut. It could be Leviathan, Crit Cat. You're right, it could be Leviathan. So I'm not really sure. And then we have the Kingdom of Waluade. I'm not sure how to say this. This is either a thunder summon or it's Odin. I'm probably leaning towards Odin because of the spear. I would say that it's probably Odin or an Ixion type summon from 10, like the thunder summon. But anyway, Waluade claims the entirety of Ash, the eastern half of Valisthea, as its dominion. The kingdom's control of the continent has often been tested by the orcs and other beastmen who make their home there, but the current ruler of the realm, dominant of blank, has succeeded in quelling their rebellions. So, see, they don't want to give away all of the dominance. So, I guess this could be Shiva, but I don't know. Using the power of the kingdom's mother crystal, Drake's spine, this new king has built up a mighty army with which he now seeks to test the borders of his neighbors. So this seems like a very powerful force too. I don't know how they're going to play in. I don't know what their summon is, obviously, but the Dhalmekian Republic. The Dhalmekian Republic is made up of 5 states from which the members of its ruling parliament are drawn. So we have more of like a British government type with a parliament, where it's more of like maybe a king is like not really a leader, but more like a status symbol. Its mother crystal's Drake's Fang is half hidden in the heart of a mountain range. The Republic's control over it and its ether, securing the obedience of the large part of southern Valisthea. The dominant of Titan, icon of Earth, is installed as a special advisor to Parliament and has a significant say in its decision-making. So that actually makes sense. If it's a republic, it's obviously more of like a parliament, and more of like a governing body, instead of like a king or a queen. So then we have the Iron Kingdom, and these guys are a little off-hinged. I also want to point out that the Dhalmekian Republic, or the Kingdom of Waluade, has beastmen, so we're probably going to see a few different races now that I think about it. But anyway, let's go on to the Iron Kingdom. A small group of islands off the coast of the Storm, the western half of Valisthea's twin realms. Here, the Crystalline Orthodox and extreme faith that worship crystals reign supreme. The church symbol, like the church, this is more of like your religious leaders and stuff like that. The Iron Kingdom controls Drake's Breath, the mother crystal that sits at the heart of one of their islands, long a source of contention with neighboring Rosaria. So here we have the kingdom that controls the mother crystal that Rosaria is not exactly warring with, but has kind of a tension-filled thing. Isolated and aloof from the mainland nations, the Ironbloods speak their own language. Orthodox doctrine judges dominance to be unholy abominations, and any unlucky enough to be born on the islands are executed. So that is super interesting, and I actually want to say that I think I know where Ifrit comes from. So, obviously, the mother crystals determine what type of dominant they are. So I'm going to go into this a little bit when we go into the concept art, but I believe that because the island of the Iron Kingdom is kind of volcanic, that's why Phoenix is Rosaria's, that's their dominant, or their summon is Phoenix because of the volcanic island. But if Ifrit is also coming from this, it could be that Ifrit blessed one of the people of the Iron Kingdom, and instead of being killed, they are something to the effect of this person was outcast and their mother didn't want them to be killed, so they took them somewhere and got rid of them, and now this person is waging a war against all dominance, and that could be where Ifrit comes into play. I think Ifrit definitely comes from the Iron Kingdom. Could be wrong, but that's my prediction right now. So then we have the Crystalline Dominion, and this is kind of like, you'll notice that every flag besides, I believe, the Iron Kingdom, is represented here. And that's actually a good point. The Iron Kingdom has the nail from Ifrit's raid in Final Fantasy XIV, and this is the same team, so it's possible that this is a symbol of that. So, the Crystalline Dominion sits at the heart of Valisthea, built around the tallest of all Mother Crystal, Drake's Tail. Many bloody battles were fought for control of this small plot of land due to its strategic importance, till the warring realms finally agreed to an armistice. So this is kind of like Game of Thrones. We have 5 kingdoms, as opposed to 7, but we have 5 kingdoms that are basically struggling to survive, or they're fighting for control, or they're definitely into something. And the Crystalline Dominion is 4 of these kingdoms, which appears to be the Dalmekian Republic, the Duchy of Rosaria, the Holy Empire of Sandbrick, and the Kingdom of Waloed. And it seems like that is what's going on with the Crystalline Dominion. They are like a group that come from every kingdom, and they kind of come together as one, not really government, but one kind of treaty type of thing, where they all have representatives and they come together and say, hey, this is what's going on with our lands, this is what's going on with your lands, are we going to wage war, are we not going to wage war? It's kind of like the UN, I guess. So, as part of the peace treaty, the islands around Drake's Tail became an autonomous dominion led by a council of representatives from the surrounding nations, each realm enjoying equal claim to Mother Crystal's blessing. No dominant makes their home here. So we don't have a dominant from the Crystalline Dominion. Like I said, it's just basically like a conglomerate of the realms. By the way, let me know in the comment section below what you think of this section of it. Now, I absolutely love this. And now you're going to see this, and I think this is where Shiva comes from. The blue hue of the surrounding area, the blueness of the crystal. Okay, here's a better image. And I really think that this is where Shiva comes from. And this art is beautiful, by the way. Kazuya Takahashi is a freaking he's such a great artist. I believe fully this is where Shiva comes from. I don't know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments section. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. So this is the concept art that we got a long time ago, and we see that the castle's here. I believe that this is a Mother Crystal again, and I don't know if this is where Joshua and his family come from, but this is the very first art that we ever got for this game. Very first. I think that this is definitely a Mother Crystal. I love this. This reminds me so much of Tactics. It hurts. Like, I'm so hyped for this. You guys have no idea what's going through my head right now. I love this concept art of Clive, and we've got Joshua, and if you look, he's holding the puppy. So in the trailer, there was a puppy that showed up, and it was kind of like, okay, this is random, there's just a random dog, but who doesn't like to see random puppies? Yeah, he's holding the puppy. He seems like he's this protector, like he loves people and life itself, and that kind of is symbolized by him being Phoenix. Like, that whole concept just plays into his character perfectly. And then we have Jill, and Jill reminds me a lot of a Final Fantasy Tactics character, and she's like the sister, and it's really cool seeing all this. And now we have the greatest fucking art I've ever seen. Sorry, demonetized. The greatest art I've ever seen from a Final Fantasy game. This is the most beautiful shit I've ever seen. I don't know how anybody can look, and it's got a Mother Crystal in the background too. I don't know how anybody can look at this and not just be floored by how good it looks. This is handmade. This is hand-painted. This isn't a render. He made this with his own 2 hands. Like, God. I'm so blown away. Like, I wish I could put into words how I feel right now. That sword is amazing. His flame arm is amazing. Ifrit and Phoenix coming together. I hope this is the box art. I am hoping with every fiber of my being that this is the box art, because I will probably pass out from excitement. Yeah, the collector's edition with the steelbook. I don't care how much this collector's edition costs. I'm buying this, like, 100%. I don't even know what to say, guys. Like, I'm so blown away. Like, what are they doing to us? And this game isn't even like the big reveal. This is like them saying, okay, we're not going to give you new information, but yet we're going to give you a website that gives you super amounts of new information. Like, what do they have left to reveal other than, like, a new gameplay trailer? Like, they talked about how the trailer that they have is not the final product, obviously. Yoshi P said he wasn't even happy with how it looked. So I'm glad that he is taking accountability for that. I'm glad he's not just saying, oh, well, here's a trailer, have fun. Or just, like, playing a CGI cutscene from Visual Works and saying, here you go, here's a logo, Final Fantasy 16. This is definitely, I think, farther along than everybody thinks it is. And when Yoshi P addressed the jokes about 2035, it touched my soul a little bit, because I'm like, he knows. He knows this fan base. I don't know of any other director, even in Square, that is, like, addressing all of this stuff very openly. And it's so weird to me that, like, a lot of developers are very hush-hush about everything, and Yoshi P's like, just whatever. I'm saying it. I don't care. Like, I wonder how many times he has to meet with the PR team or, like, the company president and is like, I'm sorry I said all that, but look at the hype I generated. And then he just keeps doing it. Like, I hope that they're just saying fuck it and letting him be just completely on his own, like, let him do whatever he wants. So anyway, guys, that is about it for the website. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to Omni-slash that like button. Let me know in the comments section below what you think of the new lore and the website for Final Fantasy 16. Subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell to join the ranks of Soldier today. And for all the latest Final Fantasy 16 news, rumors, and trailers, I'm Soldier First Class, and I'm on to the next mission. Later, guys. Okay, scene. Let's go.